Boy, do I have something special for you guys today. A little bit of a backstory. Last June, we had a bunch of woodworkers descend upon the shop for a Purple Heart Project charity event. Even Rob Kosman came down from Canada to do a couple of seminars on hand-cut dovetails. While he was here, we decided we would film something together. So we thought maybe a mini course on hand-cut dovetails would be fun. And I was gonna be the student in that situation, and I thought about it. I'm like, you know what would be even more fun is if we had someone with no experience cutting dovetails to see what they can do. Well, Nicole volunteered for the task. What a great sport. And it turned out to be amazing and so much fun. So that's what we have for you today, is a look at how that whole thing went down. And it is abbreviated because the full video, it's about an hour and 15 minutes, is in the Wood Whisperer Guild. And it's set up there as sort of a fundraiser. A portion of the proceeds from every purchase will go to the Purple Heart Project. Right now, if you want to check out more about the Purple Heart Project, that's thepurpleheartproject.org. And of course, robkosman.com if you want to learn more from Rob and his techniques and his tools. He's got a lot of stuff at his website. And then the Wood Whisperer Guild if you want to buy the full course and see Nicole and Rob hamming it up, having a good time, and also learn the art of cutting hand-cut dovetails. And you'll get a little taste of it right now.
Nicole?
Yes.
We're going to cut a two-tailed dovetail.
If you say so.
We're going to go through the process of preparing the stock. I'm going to show you how to lay it out.
Okay.
And then we're going to teach you how to cut it.
Yeah, 'cause I've never done this.
So, first lesson, and this is the one that I think a lot of people don't understand. You have to prepare your stock.
Okay.
You have to inspect what you expect, and you have to have this stuff perfect, or you go to put the joint together, particularly if it's a drawer.
Yeah.
Imagine you've got 4 corners. You put these two together, and you put this one together, and then when you go to put this one together, it's way up here because the pieces weren't perfectly square.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to introduce you to what's called a shooting board. And the purpose of the shooting board is to hold the pieces of wood, the piece of wood and the tool at right angles this way and at right angles that way. I'm going to do the long side. So that's straight and square, that's straight and square. Now I've got to do the end.
Yeah.
Part about this that you have to be careful. If you plane across like that without taking care of this first, these fibers will break.
Oh, okay.
So the first thing I do is I pull it away from what we call the fence.
Okay.
I cut a little chamfer,
Yeah.
that's what that's called. Flip it over, so that's on the back side. If you look right in there, you can see a little gap.
Yep, I see it.
So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plane until that disappears. So this one is done, and I'm gonna identify it. I'm gonna write on here pin board. Now, your turn.
Is this the tail?
This is going to be the tail board. We'll write on it right now. Remember, you having to push that into the plane. Good. Try to make sure that you're past, that you take wood off the entire length.
Okay.
That way you don't introduce a taper into the board. Nice continuous one. Good. Beautiful. All right. Check that.
Ooh, that's perfect.
Yeah. Now, you want to go do you want to try the end one?
So you had it like this.
Yeah. Remember, you're keeping the plane tight this way.
Yeah.
Have a look and see if, okay, you did.
Yeah, I did.
All right.
And so now I put this way?
Yeah.
Sorry. Did I mess it up?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Stop there. All right, that was excellent. Okay, we are going to do the layout.
The layout.
We're going to first determine, and I like to give people the reasons why we're doing this.
Sure.
I have to know, you have to know
Yeah.
how far down into this piece of wood do you need to cut?
Okay.
And you have to know how far down into this piece.
Yes.
So we're going to cut down into this piece the depth that the thickness of this one is,
Okay.
and reverse.
Gotcha.
Well, they're the same thickness, so we can just measure one. Here's the easiest way to do it. Take a really good marking gauge. A really good marking gauge is one that has a nice sharp cutter.
Okay.
You want to get a nice severed line, not a crushed bunch of fibers.
Right.
So what I do is I set it like this, holding it here, loosen that, it drops down, and then lock it. That is the exact width of this.
Oh, okay.
So the tail board, we are going to cut all the way around. So what we do is we hold it like this. You want to always make sure that the head of the tool stays tight to the end of the board. So I'm going to come up here like this. Nice clean cut. On this one, I want that to be really deep. You'll see why. And then pull it up on the inside and really deep on the opposite edge. Only this one gets the edges. That one just gets the two faces.
Oh, I forgot. I was on the...
That's pin board.
Okay. All right.
Focus your attention right here. Make sure it stays tight to the end of the board. There. So I'm going to put this in the vise just because it's a little easier to have that third hand. So these are dividers. And the first thing I have to determine is how big are these outside. These are called half pins.
Okay.
That's a full pin, has a
Right.
slope on both sides. That's a half pin because it's sloped only on the outside edges. On something this size, now I do it enough now that I just look at it and I can kind of figure out what size I want. But that doesn't help somebody who's never done it before. So I tell most folks, I said, you're going to be somewhere around 1/4 inch.
Okay.
So you close your dividers so that you've got about 1/4 inch right there. And then I kind of look at that and think, well, that's a little big, maybe a little bit smaller. And then in from either end, you're going to leave a little mark in the wood and a little mark in the wood. We're going to use a pen. I use a pen because line width never changes and it's easy to see. I like the fact that you can put your pen in the hole like that. I'll do one, you do the other. Move this over until it touches. Then I know it's exactly where I want. I draw my line across the end. And then here, and I always come down to the line and go up.
Okay.
Now, you're going to go to that side. We're using a 1/6 slope. Hold that really tightly and make sure that you have a nice square line all the way. Don't let that move.
Yep.
And then you're going to come down here. Remember, you're going to start there and go up.
Oh, I don't see anything.
You're right here.
Okay. Do I go just follow the line?
Yeah. Follow the line and come straight up. Perfect. All right, so these are our 2 outside half pins.
Okay.
I'm going to take my dividers. Normally, I would have 2 of these.
Okay.
I would save this, so when I go to the other side, that's my outside half pin. And I would have a second pair. What I want to do is first divide this space in half. I'm going to start right there on the half pin. I'm going to go 1, 2. I didn't make it there.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't make it there, so I got to open up a little bit more. Try it again. 1, 2, not quite. A little bit more. Okay, so that. There.
Boop.
That's divided this into 2 equal spaces. So all I have right now, I have 2 tails, and I want a pin. I started here, and I ended there. If I open these dividers up any amount and do the same thing, where will I end up?
On this side.
Somewhere on that side,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, the amount that we go past that line will determine how big this is. Starting here,
Yeah.
remember, don't make any marks yet.
Right.
How's that?
Maybe that's not much.
We'll go a little bit more. I'm easy. Start here. That?
Sure.
Okay. Now what we do, come back here, leave a mark.
Okay.
When we get over here, we pick it up, set it on that spot, and leave a mark.
Oh.
And then I can take my 2 pair of dividers, go to the other side of my drawer or box, and there's my layout. Very
Nice.
precise.
I love it.
All right, you go ahead and lay out these.
Okay.
You can use 1/6. You just have to remember which way your slope's going to be, right? Perfect. We cut on the waist side. So when we set our saw in here, we're always going to keep the line
Yeah.
and have the sawdust in the side with the X. Before we start cutting into this piece, it's all prepped beautifully.
Yeah.
We're going to do a practice cut.
Okay.
So you have never made a saw cut.
No.
You've never actually used that in a piece of
No.
wood. I'm going to give you a baseline.
Okay.
Reason is, we may as well learn to stop right at the bottom.
Okay. Get the feel for the
I'm
saw.
gonna put this in the vise. I'm going to make some lines. So I need to hold it like so. I need this elbow to lay right underneath that shoulder. So you kind of have to turn your body a little bit so that when you set that down, there's a nice straight line that starts here, goes through the wrist, the elbow, up to the shoulder. This hand has to create an anchor point.
Okay.
You don't want the saw to slide side to side when you start. I'm always anchoring this and I'm always pressing this way, and I can just kind of do that to get it right where I want
Yeah,
it.
to get it on the right
When
side.
I get it lined up means all I see is the pen line and a little wiggle out here at the front, and then use the entire blade.
Oh boy.
You want to try it?
Sure.
Okay, nice light grip. Come to me.
I can't. Okay,
Yes, you
there.
can. There. That's all you need. Now go right to the handle. Right to the handle.
Oh, to the handle.
Yeah, good. Remember,
Am I gonna?
this has to stay still.
Yeah.
This always has to have that lateral pressure, and these have to prevent it from going that way.
Right.
This is preventing it from going that way. Beautiful. Keep going. Now get right to the handle. Use up all the blade. Another stroke. Another stroke. So what I made her this. I took a piece of wood. I said you can't saw with it.
No, I won't saw with
You can
it.
only use it to position your saw to give yourself a little bit of this, or this.
I just figuring out where that needs to be has been helpful.
On this one, I got to come in first. So
Okay.
there you go. There's your angle.
I want to do it. I'm willing it.
Well,
to
this
do
is
it.
where a little more practice of starting the saw, but just stay in line. There you go. Watch your line at the bottom. Now you're going to go the other way.
Yep.
Yep.
Oop.
Okay.
All right.
Lock it in the wrist.
Yep.
Okay. All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to get prepared to do the pins. So we're going to take a layer and we'll put it so that it just crosses over the line.
Okay.
And then we're going to do this 4 times.
Oh. Why 4?
Because we want to build a little tape wall. That's 4. I'm going to make sure that's well stuck. Now our marking gauge is still set for where we had it.
Right.
We're going to come in here and we're going to cut right through that tape, and I'm going to peel that off. Now what that does, that gives me, when I put these 2 pieces together, that flushes them up.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this piece like that, bring that up underneath, and then lock that in place. So I want this to be flush with the
okay.
top of the plane.
Okay.
Set that back. I'm going to set this piece on top of there, just like that.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
Now, we're about to employ something called the Sean shim. It doesn't matter how well you do this. This has to fit this.
Yeah.
This is your template. This is a piece that must fit in there.
Okay.
What we're going to do, there's numbers on here. It starts at 23, 24, 25, 26. That represents thousandths of an inch. So my saw has a set, meaning it cuts a groove that's 24 thousandths of an inch wide.
Okay.
So I'm going to use that 24. And you see the little offset?
Yeah.
Meaning this is sticking out 24 thousandths of an inch more than that.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is I'm going to flip it around like that, actually, so that it's now hanging over. I'm going to move this over like that, make sure it's in position. That little lip right there represents the width of my saw.
Okay.
So that's going to allow us to come in and take this. This is called a dovetail marking knife. It has a sawtooth blade. That blade is the same as that blade. So when we put this in there like so, it can't move side to side.
Yeah.
It's not going to go that way or that way.
Right.
So you need to hold this firmly like that.
Okay.
And you want to be careful because it's a snug fit and you don't want to wreck things.
Sure.
You're going to put it in there like that, holding it on the same angle, and just pull it out and do it 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
Yep.
Like that?
Yep. Yep. Keep doing. And you want to pull out in the same direction that that's in there. Couple more. I do a couple more. All right, that's done.
Okay.
Now, we have to do the other side.
Right.
What do you suppose we have to do?
We got to take that and push it over.
Exactly. So what we're going to take this, flip it around like that, so that this is smaller than that by 24 thou. Put it on the edge. If there was any discrepancy in the width of the 2 pieces, that would throw you off. So we always want to work from the same side.
Gotcha.
I like to move it over and then push it back like that so I know it's perfectly registered. We need to draw some lines down the face.
Okay.
So you can use your square, you can use this. We're going to keep this piece, we're going to keep this piece, and we're going to keep that piece. I'm going to make sure that my line is on the pin side of that mark, okay? Challenge number 2, you have to cut right beside that line.
Okay.
What I like to do is put the saw right in there like that. All my attention can now be focused on following the line down this side. I sometimes like to hold my thumb right there just a little bit, just so that it doesn't pop out on me. Do you want to go?
Yeah.
All right, same posture, same everything. This time you're going to stand plumb. Your focus is all going to be on that line.
Right.
And when you first start sawing, you do have a little bit of ability to adjust.
Okay.
But the kerf is so narrow that once you get started,
Yeah.
that saw is going to continue on that path. Just go. There you go. Oh, okay. Now that you got it going, follow your line.
Yeah.
Looks good from here. Now this is called a fret saw. Cuts on the pull,
Right.
so the teeth are facing me. And I've twisted the blade a little bit top and bottom. If I didn't, we wouldn't be able to cut as far as we need to. Because I've twisted the blade, now when we make a horizontal cut, the frame stays up here.
Okay.
So when you drop down, you gotta lay the saw over, drop it to the bottom, come up a little bit, and then I turn it like that, and that locks it. And then start sawing. So I'm trying to stay as close to the line as I can, because the closer I am, the less I have to chisel. Now, that back opening is narrower than the front opening, so at some point I've got to start swinging the saw around like this. When you get close, slow down. You can hear it.
Yeah.
Just watch your line. Yeah, you know what to do. You steer by just moving the back up and down as you need to. Very good. Count for the angle on that.
Did I do it?
Almost, not quite at the back. No, there you go. We want to remove that material right at the baseline,
Okay.
and the surface left must be flat
Okay.
or slightly concave. If there's a
Okay.
bump, we have a problem.
Alrighty.
I hold the chisel like this, I use my thumb, and I just slide across until it falls into that spot. I'm over tight to the pin. I'm gonna tap it to get it started. Then I'm gonna angle it so I can follow the slope of the pin. Only go down about halfway.
Oh.
Then I'm gonna come down to this side, do the same thing. I know when it's in that groove. One registers it, angle it, go about halfway. And then I'm gonna come in and take care of that little piece in the middle. This requires a real light touch. You don't wanna have you have a heavy hand, there's a chance that you're gonna twist that and you leave a
Okay.
little divot.
Oh.
So you see how nice and clean that line is from
Yep.
corner to corner?
Yep.
That's what we want. Then I flip it over, make sure there's no debris in here, or else you'll have dings in there
Yeah.
that gets pounded in. So I'm same thing on this side. Find that spot. And then do the same thing on this end. Little one in the middle. Good, good. Good. All right, now we're going to put this in the vise.
Okay.
So you see that little bit of dirt in the middle?
Yeah.
Right there?
Yep.
We don't want that. Going to come in here, and that's going to allow me to push with my right hand at the same time, because I'm holding it with this hand. It's under lots of control. This piece is going to be done. We're going to do the exact same thing.
Oh, we got more and more.
The only thing your only procedure you're going to do here that we haven't already done is you're going to saw that one.
Okay.
Remove that piece of waste. Slow down when you get beside the tail so you don't hit it.
Is it? I get it?
I think so. There you go. Holding the chisel firmly, we're going to come in and we're going to cut a little trough,
Oh, yeah.
little valley like that. I put my saw in there and it goes right up against that, and I can tell when it's square.
Right.
So when it's square, then I just make my cut.
Ta-da!
Your turn.
My turn.
Actually, you're going to use the chisel first. So you're going to go in there and you're going to cut a little trough. Now, you want to be up high, because if you're down too low, you'd slide right by
Yeah,
your line.
yeah, that makes sense.
But you only want to be right about,
Right about there?
No, right about there.
Okay.
And just do a little light controlled cut. Don't scoop.
It's ice cream.
Oh. Next one, we're just going to chop that waste out, do the same thing we did. Set that chisel right in there. Now, glue. We're going to glue this, all the long grain surfaces,
Okay.
to include these ones, but I am going to put a little bit on the outside, what we call half pins. Don't use too much, don't use not enough. Start it by hand first, so that you make sure everything is lined up. And now you can tap it. And you don't want one to go faster than the other, so just kind of
In the
back
middle?
and forth. Yep. Go, now you want to seat it. Just
What's seed it mean?
like that.
There you go.
Wipe off the excess. Now we want to check it for square. So that means taking a square like that and putting it in there. That looks good. That's exceptional. First ever dovetail.
There's a little gap.
I just got finished saying. Show the camera. That's
Yay!
pretty remarkable.
A little bit too good. A little too good.
I got a great teacher.